Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
Will that kid ever stop bouncing that basketball?
Do I want a pair of gold sneakers?
And is there something weird about this old guy and the little girl?
All this and more on Gory Storytime.
Warning. Gory Storytime is a horror movie review show by a son and his dad who thought that letting his 5-year-old watch scary movies was acceptable. If you are offended by horror or talk about blood and gore by a child, or if you don't want horror movies from the 60s through today spoiled, then there is a remote stuck in your couch cushion next to potato chip crumbs. Use it. And of course, parental discretion is advised.
Why? You didn't use any.
Shut up and start the show.
Welcome to Gory Storytime. I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and his father, Craig. And quickly to go back and answer those questions. And usually I'm the only one that answers, but watch this. We're going to be slick. Nope.
Nope.
And there might be. Anyway, go back and match those up.
Yes.
So this week, we're finishing, thankfully,
Yeah.
our movies that we were not looking forward to or we're leery of. That's basically what we're calling it, right? Yeah, movies where we're leery to watch for different reasons. And this one, Tales from the Hood 3, here's the reason. We loved Tales from the Hood. Loved it.
Tales from the Hood.
We hated the second one. And there's like 18 A's in hated and a bunch of exclamation points at the end.
Yeah.
Because that was awful.
Like, everybody kind of collectively said that, too, when we were looking at the numbers and stuff last time.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So that's why we were both leery of this one. To the point where we were like arguing. I was like, we have to do it. And he's like, I really never want to watch that. And I was like, I never wanted to watch the remake or the reboot or whatever you want to call the 2018 Halloween. The requel, yeah. I hate that. So I said, it can't just be movies I'm leery of. It's got to be, and
I was like, here's something I'm leery of. Let's watch those.
Here's the basic premise. And just like the first two, they set up a situation where someone is telling stories. And those stories are all, well, it's an anthology movie, but those stories are all horror stories. And I don't know, the first one, it was people in a funeral home. Second one was a politician. Right?
Oh, I don't remember what the second one was.
I thought it was. Or maybe that was one of the stories. I hated it so much I've tried to remove most of it from my memory.
Yeah.
Like, I own 1 and I own 3 and I'm fine with that. And I have OCD, so if I'm fine with that, that's scary. But anyway.
Yeah.
And this one has a older man taking a young girl to go see her mom is the premise, and she's telling him stories while on the way. And like the other two, it tends to be racially based, and not necessarily like it's the black experience version of Tales from the Crypt.
I mean, I think that was their reasoning for calling it Tales from the Hood.
Oh, absolutely,
right.
Absolutely. And I loved the first one, and like I said, we hated the second one, and then that's all we can really say without giving away the twists and turns, which we'll probably do if you haven't watched this in our favorite and least favorite things. But why don't we watch the short trailer that they had for it, because it was straight to video. They didn't really advertise it much, and see what you think.
Do you see the bad things?
The bad things, they know how to hide. They know how to make themselves look normal. Evil has a way of looking really nice and shiny. On the surface, when it has to.
bad things are already here.
Well, now you don't know what it's about.
I mean,
'Cause-
if anyone's watching 3 and hadn't seen the first 2, like, that's dumb. Not that you have to watch them in order, but like, it'd be weird to start with 3 in any series.
except for Halloween.
Yeah, but it would still be weird not knowing going in. But anyway,
Oh, I
is there
start.
anything else you want to say before? And we don't
no.
start there anyway.
No, we don't. No, there's nothing more that I've got to say about that.
Okay, I mean, that's basically the premise. This girl's telling those stories on her way. But now here's the true premise. Not the premise of the movie, but the premise of our show. A lot of people misunderstand and think that because we love horror, we do this show for our love of horror. And while that's some part of it, the majority is we are kind of prostitutes.
Yeah.
We want to do anything for money. And we're trying to do it legally, so here's how we do it. We let big corporations tell us what items they have coming up for sale, or, you know, products, etc. And we then get a Brinks truck backed up to our house,
Yep.
and we take all that money, we roll around in it like it's a swimming pool, like Scrooge McDuck, swim through it, and
Yes.
then we come out here and tell you how great the products actually are. But we're being honest, because these are real products that actually exist.
Along with those being real monies that we actually swim on.
Yeah. This week, Gory Storytime is brought to you by Education for Racists. We personally believe that all racism is steeped in ignorance and conditioning. That's why we've created a whole system that teaches the reality of mankind to those who lack this understanding. Books, MP3s, and online videos designed to educate. Start with basics like they might look different, but they're still people. Slavery was bad, and the Holocaust did happen. All the way up to our more advanced courses like labels that separate are racist, and the Bible doesn't have any exceptions to love thy neighbor or thou shalt not judge. That's Education for Racists. Order it for the racist in your life today.
And by Real Life and More Necessities. Our company helps you be prepared for almost any possible issues. Bunkers and foods for survivalists, insurance for everything from fires, robbery and death to the undead and demons. So be prepared for the future with our full range of must-have products. Real Life and More Necessities. We call it as it is. We aren't just insurance, we're in case shit.
Absolutely. All right. Sounds like they'd have a lot of interesting things. Now we get into the meat and beef of this.
It looks like today all we have is meat.
Yeah. So we might as well explain meat and beef for those who haven't been watching for long or aren't, friends of mine binge watching while at home. Shout out to my friend Nikki. We call it meat and beef because he meant to say the meat and potatoes of the show, meaning the main part of the show, and being that he's a blithering idiot,
That is an accurate assessment.
he said meat and beef instead, and it stuck.
Yes.
But the behind-the-scenes facts. Now, there weren't a lot of them that we could find. We usually get a lot of them off IMDb. They have a section for trivia. This one, I had to dig a little deeper. So let's get into the meat and beef of this movie.
All right. Lead actor Tony Todd continues his resume in the horror genre, which includes the Candyman films, the Final Destination films, and more.
While in a bar together, Tony Todd asked Darren Scott why he had never been in a Tales from the Hood movie. Scott just smiled, but 2 months later, Todd was offered his role in this film.
In the first story, when the bad guy looks at his phone, some of the other recent calls are from Andrew Vona, Rusty
Gundieff?
John Quinn, and Darren Scott, all people who worked on the film. They are the additional editor, director and writer, editor, and director and writer, respectively.
The portrait of Marie Benoit, Lynn Whitfield's character in the third segment, is based on a photograph of Lynn Whitfield from her role in Eve's Bayou.
The Mouths of Babes and Demons, the wraparound story, The Bunker, and Dope Kicks are written and directed by Rusty Cundieff, while Ruby Gates and Operatic are written and directed by Darren Scott.
Well, that's two. That cuts down on one of them because that next one of yours. Oops. When Williams runs from the little girl out into the main part of the catacombs, if you look where he ran from, you can see a piece of set rocking back and forth. Initially, it looks like someone's chasing him, but that's not what it is.
I mean, that's
you
the
might as well
same
just do
thing.
the
So,
right.
okay, this is the first Tales from the Hood film without Mr. Sims / the Devil. One can argue that the little girl Brooklyn is actually related to Mr. Sims, or is him. He's the devil after all, and doesn't have a true race or gender or age.
I mean, his race would be angel, but disgraced angel.
And which kind of angel was he anyway?
I mean, he was literally the first one. But let's not get into the semantics of
Was he an
religion
archangel?
because that's not
Right.
really the intent of this show. This isn't the, gory story Christianity. Like, that's no.
I mean, the title would still be fitting for some of those stories.
Sure. Yeah, so one of those was actually kind of a doubled thing. So we
And according to the wiki, there were 94 kills or deaths within the
94
parameters
deaths,
of this
some
movie.
off screen, some implied, but yes, 94.
94.
Wow. And we always give the Rotten Tomato score. Here's the thing.
At first glance,
It looks like there's no Rotten Tomato score. But this is why I'm very specific to tell you what that actually means. What they do is they take the critics' reviews and they take all the positive reviews and all the negative reviews and figure out what 100% of the reviews are. And then the percentage they give you is the percentage that are positive.
reviews, right?
So if it says 70%, 7 out of 10, 700 out of 7,000 or out of 1,000, whatever it is, that's how they get the percentage.
the
Rotten
percentage
Tomato
of
doesn't
good.
rate the movies. That's not what they
Right.
do. They just find
But
the
if you went to Rotten Tomatoes and you looked for this movie, you would
Four.
find that 4 critics,
and
fewer than 50,
what was it? It was like
12.
12. Yeah, there was 12 people. Like
12 audience reactions or whatever reviews.
yeah, and
And
4
4
critics.
critics reviews.
So, knowing how they did it, we did the math, and out of the
4
12, no, I do
you
that
go
one.
first.
Out
Okay.
out of the 12 people rating it at home, 6 gave it a positive review, 3 out of 5 stars or more, like over half.
Right.
So that would be 50%.
And out of the 4 reviews, 3 of them were positive, which means 75%.
Which is weird because it's really hard to get a positive number for most horror movies. So it sounds like this must be amazing at 75% when the critics love it. I think there might be some woke points put in there for those positive reviews, to be fair.
What, those 3?
The 3 that were positive. But yeah, so based on just the small amount of numbers so far, that would be 50%.
And by
with
so
the
far,
people
we mean
and
probably
75%.
forever, because this is from 2 years ago. Nobody's
yeah.
going back and reviewing it except for us.
Yeah, we're the only ones that would do that. And the reason we didn't do it at the time it came out was, again, we were struggling with the idea of if we ever would watch it after watching the second one.
Because that second one was a sin.
Yeah. Well, ironically,
Right.
it revolves around
I said
hell.
that. I said that. I know what I was saying.
Anyway, you don't know what you're saying when you're reading words you wrote down ahead of time.
That's true, but that's not the conversation.
But that's mostly due to your handwriting.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
let's not do that.
That's not where we go first.
Nope. what is your absolute favorite? No, let's start with the least favorite. What's your least favorite thing about this movie? I know what mine is. Is it the
Okay, this is
thing
going to
right off the
sound
bat?
really bad. Yes, I believe so. This is going to sound really bad for that dumb-ass cancer kid, all right? All right?
Well,
because
specifically,
these two adults are trying to have a conversation. And
Careful.
yes, and the kid's just bouncing his basketball in the house, bouncing his basketball over and over again. And then, like, after 5 minutes of these two trying to have a conversation, the one who's not the kid's dad snaps at him and says, "Hey, stop bouncing the ball in the house. We're trying to have a conversation." And the dad's like, "How dare you?" And it's like, "What do you mean, how dare you? You've been trying to talk."
Here's how dare he. He didn't live there. He had no right to tell.
All right.
No, if
That
someone came in,
basketball was
stop
too
for a second.
loud.
Okay, but that came back. That was done for a reason. Plot line wise, they wanted you to recognize that sound when it came back later. And I'm not going to spoil that, but that's why. A. And B, if someone came into my house when you were that age and yelled at you to change what you were doing because it was bothering them, I would tell them the same thing. Well, you can leave. Even if I was annoyed by the same thing, screw this guy for having the gall to tell my kid what to do. No. This person doesn't live in my house. He doesn't pay my rent. No.
He was trying to.
He wasn't trying to pay his rent.
No, you're right. He was trying to give him $10,000. The answer is yes. Stop bouncing the ball and move.
There was more reasons than that, and he's just pig-headed. Anyway, my least favorite part, boy, I mean, there was a few things that really got me.
Yeah.
At first, I thought it was some, over-folied stuff until it came back, the basketball.
I mean, some of it still was.
Well, but the rest of the movie didn't really have that. It was mostly
yes, it
that
did.
basketball.
I mean, the bunker had some bad sound effects, too.
I mean,
I didn't need to hear his doll, all right?
Well.
And it squeaked.
yeah, but that was for humor.
It squeaked
Anyway,
loud.
I guess boy, which thing do I want to say?
Right.
Okay, the last of the short stories that were being told, the one called what kicks? Something kicks? Dope kicks.
Oh, my goodness.
They picked the ugliest damn shoes. The whole point was like there was this guy robbing people, like punching them and taking their stuff, and he stole these shoes. And they looked like part of an outfit from Goldmember from the Austin Powers movie when he was wearing that fake ass gold.
Yes.
It was ridiculous, and everyone was like, "Whoa, these are really dope. These are amazing." Like, I hated that because I'm like, nobody's gonna go nuts for these ugly ass shoes. That being said, he wears Crocs. I might be wrong,
I don't wear Crocs. I don't have Crocs.
but when you had them, what did you do?
Wear them.
Right.
They're comfortable.
You know what I've never done? Had them. You know why? Because I don't want to wear them. You get me some, I won't wear them. Don't waste your money or my time.
Whatever.
Anyway, what was your favorite scene?
I guess my favorite thing, I mean, it starts right after the beginning, which is the twist. The major twist is that it's not the dude telling the stories, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's
Like
not even a
every
twist.
movie-
It starts with it.
Right.
But yeah, the short stories were told by a guy in both cases. So yeah.
That both ended up being Mr. Sims or the devil or whatever.
Right.
And this one, what looks like it could be that character
Because
isn't.
it's Tony Todd, and you're like, he plays death in the...
Right, this guy could totally play the devil.
Right, because he played death in
Final Destination.
Final Destination, and he played Candyman, so, like, of course that's who he's playing. Now, he did play a bad dude,
But he did not play Satan.
and at first, I have to be honest, like, that was one thing that I'm just going to put as a bonus thing that was bothering me, but the reason it's not my least favorite, it got better. He was acting weird, and I like him as an actor, and I was like, what's going on? Like, something was off about it. I'm like, did they just take first takes and not try again? It ended up showing that it was intentional. There was a reason he was acting off, and it actually just makes me appreciate him as an actor more.
A little, yeah, I get that.
And it didn't take till the end for me to figure out something like that was what was happening because of the interstitial parts.
Right.
But at first, I was like, Tony Todd's a better actor than this. He is.
He is. He was purposely doing that because
Yes.
it was supposed to look off.
But my favorite thing, I guess, is the fact that, they went back to their roots where some of it talked about racism and stuff, like the bunker,
yeah.
you know. But there was some stuff where they were calling, like,
This movie
the first
wasn't
one
blatantly
it was
white people,
right.
which it could have been.
Absolutely. And I think
Especially
the second
coming out
one
in
more
2020.
was. But like the first one had some stuff about racism and how evil it is, which I agree. But it also had some stuff where it was like calling out their, the black community for bad
Stuff
behavior
within.
that they were doing. And they did that again in this one, and they didn't really seem to do that in the second one. And it's part of the formula that makes it all work together.
Part of the issue with the second one was the stories weren't good.
The
The
acting
acting wasn't
wasn't
good. The cinematography wasn't good.
Well, I mean, the second one, like, if you haven't seen it, that's good.
That's good.
The best part of the second one is if you never watched it.
Right.
All right. Anything else before we give it the rating?
I would say, like, if you want to go and watch it, but I don't know. Like, if you liked the first one,
it's
the
not
first one
bad.
is
It's-
good enough to just stop there.
The first one is great. This one has some good, I would say 2 of the stories in the wraparound were awesome, and one was and one was, I didn't like the opera one as much.
I didn't like the opera story. I thought the shoe story was kind of dumb.
See, I like the story. I just wish that the kicks were dope. In the one called Dope Kicks.
Right. And it's like...
And the first one was kind
first
of a
one was
retelling
alright.
of
The first one was
the
alright.
Telltale Heart.
Right, which bothered
In
me.
a way. Well, see, I like that.
Like, I was kind of okay with it right up until you were like, hey, it's the good thing. And I was like, ah.
Anyway, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you go?
I'm giving this movie a 5.
Hey, I guarantee that's more than double what you gave the second one.
Probably. I think I
It's
was
less-
asking if we could give it a 0. Like that movie was bad.
Don't get me wrong. The first one is way better. I like this better than he did. And it's not better just because the second one was crap. Or it's not good just because the second
Which
one was
is
crap.
how it felt for a little
But
bit.
but it helps. It helps that it's coming off of a really crappy one.
No, it doesn't help that.
No, it helps this one.
No.
No, because it makes it look even better.
Well,
It
okay.
pushes.
It unfairly helps this one. That's not right. That's not acceptable.
I think if this movie came out on its own and wasn't part of a series, you probably would have gave it more. The problem is the first one was so good, you're knocking it down, but you're moving it up a little because the second one was so
that
bad.
bad.
But I do think it would. I think you would probably go with what I'm doing.
I mean,
and
it's
I'm trying
only
to do it
fair
on its
to
own.
compare it to the other two because it's a trilogy.
Well, it's not a trilogy. It's just another series of short stories
I mean,
that end up
when
in
there's
hell.
a series and there's 3 of them, that's a trilogy.
I mean, no.
3 movies that
When
are
you're
in the
doing
same series are a trilogy, yes.
When you're doing an anthology movie, that's different. He's just wrong. But anyway, it is. That's like saying season 1 is a different thing than of Tales from the Crypt. Like, no, each one's its own thing. Like, you can like some things in one season and not others.
Okay.
It's
not the same thing at all.
I mean, whatever.
It's like I call it
I'm not
a
being
show
very clear.
'cause
I'm
it's
tired.
the same show. It's still a
no,
show.
I'm comparing things. Never mind.
All right, don't listen to him. He's not smart.
No, don't listen to him. He doesn't understand what I'm saying, and I'm not being very clear because I'm tired.
Maybe both of those things could be true.
But he's the one that's not smart. My point is good if I could be clearer.
Sure.
I'm gonna give it a 7. By the way, I don't think I
Wow.
actually said that. Yeah, definitely lower than what I had the first one.
Yeah.
Like, I had to have been like 8 or
8 or
and a
9,
half,
something like that.
I really liked the first one a lot more than this
But
one.
maybe that's
not-
us just looking back and remembering the second one is so bad that we think
it
the
is.
first one was even better.
No. The first one we loved.
I do loved it.
before,
I do
before
loved
we
it.
ever saw the second one. Anyway,
Okay.
Now that's about it, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
All right, so what we do is we look over there.
There, yeah. So you can watch this show on Fact TV channel 1076 Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. and Fridays at 7 p.m.
Hey, I bit my tongue yesterday, and I'm still kind of talking funny. I get it. And what was it? You can follow us on Facebook, and like I always say, not just us. You can like Gory Storytime, of course, but also Fact TV. They live stream a lot of stuff. You know, it's a fun little community thing. So
It is.
follow both.
Yeah. You can go to fact8.com and watch a bunch of the back episodes of this. You can watch the plethora of entertainment and other that they have up on their website.
Absolutely. And you can follow us on the Twitter. I'm at Craig Jakes, all one word, all lowercase, and I do not tweet about the show.
Yeah, I jiggly firm brain, the thing that it says on the screen that you're looking at if you're watching
Yeah,
this.
not the sounds that are coming out of his mouth.
No, I don't tweet about the show unless he says something about the show.
Because
in
he
which case,
quotes me.
then I will, because it's all things that he says that I find amusing, both in or out of context, depending on if the context makes it funnier.
Yeah, he goes with whichever one's funnier, context or no. And also, check out my YouTube channel. It's Juggalo Jakes, all one word. Episodes of this got like the first few episodes from back in the day. Got some episodes of a show called Daddy Issues I did back in the day. Some music videos, sketches. Our 100th and 200th episode specials are up. One's an hour and a half. You know,
Yeah.
And then, you know, like I said, there's a bunch of fun little things that you can find. Some bonus stuff that never made it on the air, whatever.
Yes, those are things that you could find there.
And check out Fact TV's.
YouTube.
Yeah, because they have episodes that I don't have on theirs too, and ones that I do.
Right, yes.
And that's about it, right?
I believe so.
So,
Until next time, I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and father, Craig, and
Sweet dreams.